to be a part of. And as she said, it's about making sure that we are protecting the future of tourism through our efforts, which is why we're going to shift into themes 3 and 4 now, which is about resource efficiency, which is about conservation. And our first speaker is going to be the lovely Chantatip, the Vice Minister of Tourism of the Kingdom of Cambodia. Sir.
Thank you. And good afternoon, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go to the point of the experience or best practices in Cambodia, let me take this opportunity to share with you the best topics today of the sustainable tourism or sustainable development of tourism. I think regarding this sustainable tourism, it refers mainly on the impacts of tourism on the 4 main areas: the social, culture, environment, and economy. This is very important. If we want tourism developed in a sustainable manners, we need to keep the maximizing of the positive impact of tourism, and at the same time minimizing the negative impact or eliminating the negative impact on the 4 main areas. This is the core function of the tourism, or the core function of sustainable development of tourism. There are many cases around the world, or we call lessons learned from around the world on the sustainable development of tourism, including Cambodia. As you are aware, this country have passed through long history, difficult time, war, political problem, and now build the country back to the kingdom with the peaceful, stable, and tourism is one of the great sectors for socio-economic development of the country. Government of Cambodia recognized tourism is a tool for not only for the economic but also for the fight poverty as well. And we use tourism as in Cambodia we call tourism as the green gold, another color of the gold to represent tourism support to the green development and also the response to the better environment in the country as well. Talking to the sustainability again, I think it's important is to encourage involvement of the stakeholder start the beginning of development of this tourism. Stakeholders, the best practices that we use in Cambodia, we call 4P best practices, from the public sector, private sector, partnership, and also from the people. And these people, including local community who provide services to tourism, and also the tourists. Tourists have to be respond to the development of the destination. Another important in the process of development of the tourism, I think the tourism has 2 main effects, as we already discussed in this forum. Internally and externally, this is very important. We can manage it internally, but external impact or effect from outside is hard to manage, as the war, political problem, economic crisis, or even the natural disaster as well. So another important is we need to allow the better flow of visitors to the destination to support the development, as so far we has very well in terms of the cooperation in around the region and in the world as well. So, but we still facing another challenges of the external factor on the flow of visitors from one country to another, from the one region to another. I think because of some reason, political reason, economic region or whatever, because of the skin, different skin, face, or hair, or even religion, then have been restricted by some other country. I think we should use our platform as well. This the part of sustainability of the world tourism in the future to help support and to allow the better flow of visitors. And this is part we agree that the travel is a part of human right. The right of people to travel, the right of people to visit, to exchange, and whatever. And this is support to development of tourism. So I think the final conclusion from my point of view, we need to put our further cooperation together, work in tourism, make the tourism better world. As Talib Defai mentioned, that the build better world of the living and visiting of our people. And this is our vision, and also the toward to the vision, our vision 2030, the journey to 2030, that we expect to have 1.8 billion or beyond that of the people across the border, and to support to development. And I should stress that is important is peace and security and stability of the country or destination is very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We now travel from Cambodia to France. Please may I ask Christian Monte, the General Manager at Atout France, to speak.
Your Excellencies, Ministers of Tourism, representatives of the tourism industry and major destinations, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. When we think about developing sustainable tourism, we must think about the relation between tourism and the cultural values of our countries. Why do people engage in tourism? They want to enjoy experiences different from home and meet people different from themselves. If French people go to Japan, for example, and they do things they can also do in France, and meet Japanese people who are just like French people, they will be disappointed. They will not come to Japan again. They will not talk about Japan to their friends and families. And so we are not developing a form of sustainable development in tourism. If French people come to Japan and the experiences they have here are not possible in France, and they meet Japanese people who display a different culture, then they will be satisfied. They will come to Japan again. They will talk about Japan, and we are succeeding at developing sustainable tourism. We are all very lucky because each country is different and has reached a specific cultural values. But just having diversity and local culture is not enough. First, we need to be able to make our culture and identities understandable and interesting to foreign visitors. This is in part the role of tourism development, including developing strong global brands based on local and authentic contents. Second, we need to make our populations understand that international tourism is not going to change their local cultures and lifestyles. Tourism can bring a lot of revenues to a destination, but if a destination must become something else to satisfy foreign visitors, local people will become frustrated. They will oppose more tourism development and business will decline. We must avoid this by using clever tourism management. Developing sustainable tourism is all about using our differences to develop tourism business while respecting local identities and cultures. If we can do this, then tourism is a fantastic chance for all of us to be proud of our cultures and to bring sustainable economic activities to our countries. Thank you.
Christian. Merci beaucoup. And Christian's raised a really important point about the fact that part of being sustainable, especially when it comes to culture, is celebrating our languages and the differences of our language, which is why I ask you all, please, to grab your little translation packs if you don't have it, because our next speaker, a very, very dear friend from the community, she is going to speak en Espanol. May I please introduce Marcela Basegalupo, the Minister of National Tourism Secretary, the Republic of Paraguay. Madame.
Thank you very much. The organizers, everybody. The view of sustainable tourism for development has awakened the commitment of Paraguay to guide and deepen the tourist activity, harmonizing cultural values, diversity and heritage, contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations. In this context, our work focuses on strengthening the Guarani Jesuit route, a tourist icon of our country that today constitutes a wonderful cultural, historical, and architectural experience, which in the hands of the National Secretariat of Tourism is reaching economic dynamics with empowerment of the population. It is our priority to make this route a generator of benefits for the communities, highlighting the tangible and intangible heritage of the cultural legacy of the Guarani and Jesuits. The Jesuit route of Paraguay, which runs through 8 villages in the south of the country, awakens in the tourist a set of sensations based on testimonies expressed in old buildings, in the varied local crafts, in the abundant green surroundings, the patrimony, in the gastronomy based on ancestral recipes, and the music performance by members of the Mubia Guaranina choir of the community of Guavirami in the Mission of Trinidad. In the area of mutual understanding and tourism as a peace-building industry, we have been coordinating with other Mercosur countries with the support of the Inter-American Development Bank, the formation of the Ruta Jesuitica Multidestino, which aims to be a circuit that unites at least 30 towns of the southern cone, including 9 UNESCO Patrimony of the Humanity. All these efforts would lack a sustainable basis over time without the active involvement of the communities as a whole. That is why the national government promotes public policies and politics that allow the empowerment of women and young people in the country's tourism development. One of these successful programs is Posadas Turísticas, through which hundreds of women have managed to turn their homes into business units, adapting accommodation spaces with typical elements of Paraguayan handicrafts. This program is present in at least a quarter of the total number of cities in the country, allowing tourists to extend their stay in 50 destinations, increasing tourist spending and allowing a better use of the culture that characterizes each community. Along the same line, we have been working with young people through a program called Turismo Joven, through which young leaders lead the tourist circuits in their communities. Through this initiative, we have trained 3,000 young people from the country, of whom 100 are already leading tourist proposals designed by themselves. Paraguay aspires to be a destination capable of attracting the attention of those tourists who are looking for responsible, supportive, inclusive, accessible, and experiential tourism. That is to say, a destiny that is committed to sustainable tourism. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias, Madame. Thank you very much. We now go into some of our final speakers as we go into our final minutes of the session itself. We have a gentleman in the room who has come all the way to Tokyo from down under, who is all the way across the stage, to whom I absolutely respectfully give the next 180 seconds. It's Mr. John O'Sullivan, the Managing Director of Tourism Australia. Sir.
Thank you. Ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would advise you all to keep your translation earpieces in, because I am going to speak Australian to you. We have a goal in Australia and a vision for our country, which is to make it the most desirable and memorable destination on the planet. And the key way that we do that through our marketing pillars is focusing on three key elements of the country. And they are our people, our products, and our places. And in this pillar of people, we talk about our Indigenous culture. Australia is very blessed for many things. We have amazing wildlife, a very beautiful country. But what we also have is the world's largest continuous Indigenous culture of some 70,000 years of Indigenous Australians. And in 2015, we made a conscious decision to focus on this particular part of our country in our marketing creative, irrespective if we were talking about Australia's food or its coastal and aquatic attractions. We made a strategic decision to include within Tourism Australia a recognition action plan, setting quotas for the numbers of Indigenous employees within our company. And very importantly, we've started now to work with some 70 Indigenous Australian tourism businesses and promote them to the rest of the world. And we believe that supports the third pillar of our campaign, which is about place. And we heard before about the importance of regional dispersal. And that for us is incredibly important, because almost 50 cents of every dollar spent by an international visitor to our country is in regional parts of Australia. And as we like to say, people and places really do make a trip, because you don't ask someone over to your house for dinner at night to show them a piece of furniture, unless of course you're Sarah Matthews from TripAdvisor. But in addition to that, that was a sledge. In addition to that, we did some surveys within the Australian public, along with Tourism New Zealand, about people's reaction to international tourism as a fallout from that particular campaign. We found that 94% of Australians all wanted to see more international tourists coming to Australia and embrace the industry. Thank you.
Excellent. John, thank you very, very much. It is now my great pleasure to ask to speak for the next 180 seconds Mr. Sergio Džius, the Tycho Maravis, the advisor to the Minister of Economy of the Republic of Lithuania. Please, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, growing numbers of international tourists make sustainable tourism exceptionally relevant. Up to 70% of Western European tourists take into account the level of sustainable development in the country of the travel destination. They evaluate how ecological is its environment. They prefer services with certification. They're looking for authentic experience and contacts with local communities. And it's good news for us Lithuanians, as far as, according to the surveys, cultural and historical heritage, diversity are the main reasons why foreign tourists choose Lithuania. Lithuania is divided into 5 ethnographic regions which determine strong national identity of the country. Each region has unique dialect, set of customs and traditions, specialities of cuisine. The regions are promoted as holders of materials and immaterials entities of UNESCO heritage with unique value of global level. They offer a wide range of cultural, historic, ethnic, natural, active, and medical tourism products. However, last year, tourism sector in Lithuania grew by 10%, and accommodation establishments hosted 1.5 million foreign tourists. I would like to stress up that the population of Lithuania is only 3 million. However, the main flows of foreign tourists are concentrated in the largest cities of Lithuania, Vilnius, Kaunas, Klaipėda. And last year, more than half of foreign tourists stayed in our capital, Vilnius. The attraction of tourists to Lithuanian regions has many aspects of economic ecological, social, and cultural sustainability. Therefore, the issue of sustainable tourism has to be disputed on national level. The program of Lithuanian government has defined the development of quality culture services as well as sustainable and competitive economical environment as their priorities. This year, the Ministry of Economy presented the guidelines for development of sustainable tourism in the Republic of Lithuania, which determined the concrete measures for improvement of the situation, such as development of tourism infrastructure, improvement of the services of regional tourism information centers, ensurance of more active integration of ethnic culture in tourism services. The implementation of these measures shall have positive effect on the key indicators of local tourism. By active engagement in the World Tourism Organization, Lithuania ensures the development of tourism in its regional and solution for other issues of sustainable tourism in the country. This year, Lithuania was elected to the Executive Council of the WTO as a Vice Chairman of the European Commission and the representative of the Europe at the Committee of Sustainable Tourism. Lithuania has successfully worked on the implementation of said targets. And next week, the third Sustainable Tourism Awards will take place in Lithuanian capital Vilnius. We are meant to present and promote the initiatives of sustainable tourism, encourage their development, improve the image of Lithuania as a country of sustainable tourism development. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. And I must say, I'm very grateful to all of our speakers who have maintained their 180 seconds because we have a little bit more time and we have our final speaker. Now, another little secret to share with you all. In South Africa, and in Africa per se, we all know that the lion is deemed to be the most powerful of animals. It's the male cat that goes around and is always seen to be doing the kill. But the women in Africa know it's actually the lionesses, because they're the ones that do the work. They're the ones that exhaust the prey, that allow then the lion to go in and do the kill. When it comes to tourism in South Africa, we are very grateful to have our lioness. It is now, please, my time to welcome Ms. Thokozile Kasa, the Minister of Tourism of South Africa.
Thank you very much. Is it working? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. May I take this opportunity to thank the UNWTO as well as the organizers of this very successful event. Together with everybody who is here, I think all of us very much appreciate the work that you are doing. We're coming from South Africa, and we just launched a campaign that tourism is everybody's business. We want everybody to appreciate the value of tourism and also participate, feel part of what is happening. South Africa boasts highly developed first world economic infrastructure. You remember we hosted the FIFA World Cup in 2010, and we are one of the emerging economies. And at the time of the economic meltdown globally, we embarked on a concerted effort to build infrastructure because we believed that it would attract investment into the country. And at the moment, it has made us to rally everybody across government, across all spheres of government, to ensure that we all work together. We, for instance, have a mechanism of an investment arm that we have, which has bankable projects across various sectors with incentives that come from government, where we are identifying that investment that comes into the country, we will be able to channel it so that it benefits our people. Tourism is one of the 6 key growth sectors, and it has been growing 3% annually. At the moment, it contributes about 9% into the GDP. So we are happy with that, and we are happy that it has been given a focus by government. And therefore, it is one area where we think the UN Declaration of 27 17 of Sustainable Tourism for Development works well for us because it assists us to really come together to make sure that we develop tourism for inclusive growth. We are finalizing our national tourism sector strategy for 10 years, and our pillars that talk to inclusive growth and sustainable tourism involve an approach where we are developing together a framework for maximizing empowerment of previously disadvantaged people, and we have concessions in government, especially in state-owned facilities. We are developing partnerships to bring in black operators, operators and managers for companies in state-owned companies, and also working with industry. We are scaling up enterprise and supplier development. And state procurement has been dictated to be 30% for women and young people. So we are developing products, we are giving skills to our young people, we're giving skills to women, we're looking into funding, and we also are exposing them to various markets. So we are running behind as government, and we have identified areas where we can unlock potential. One of those areas is marine and coastal tourism. All our government interventions are aimed at ensuring that those SMMEs would be the primary beneficiary. All big companies would partner in order to develop our communities. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Madam, and thank you for that final address from our 17 great speakers. We now have the ultimate time challenge coming up, because as we are clearly running short on time because of the richness of dialogue, it is my great pleasure to give the last 60 seconds. Now that's Japanese 60 seconds, not Spanish 60 seconds, sir, to Mr. Su Jing to do a quick summary of our session today. Please.
Thank you, Anita. Between the lunch and my summary, I will choose to be brief. I would like to probably recall 3 points. Number one, as you would all agree with me, that it has been very heartening that we have had such a wide spectrum of international representation. It has been a truly global coverage of the presentations that you heard from both the national, the regional, and international perspective. And I must recognize and compliment the efforts made by all the ministers and the senior CEOs sitting around all these fine round tables. And number two, we would like to believe probably we have indeed chosen the right topic, the topic of sustainability, because it is not about linking our tourism sector with that philosophy of sustainability, but it is about how this industry can survive. It is the basic need for us to continue our operations along the line of sustainability as a principle, as something that we must continue to advocate. And lastly, I would like to use the Honorable Minister of Thailand's words that ministers of tourism, not only, it is not enough that they need to sit in the front row of any cabinet meetings. It has to be in the center stage of any social and economic agenda of the world. And with that, I think it is very obvious that this forum, which has been very successful, needs to be continued not only for the next year, but for the next and next year. I thank you.
Su Jing, a perfect summary, perfectly timed. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the close of the first, but clearly not the last, forum of this nature, and we continue this roundtable conversation into the future, I ask you please to give a very warm, very loving hand of applause to all of our speakers from across the world. we wrap up this afternoon, before our speakers leave the stage, I'm going to ask you please, in just a second's time, we're going to have a photograph being taken. And with the photograph, I'd love to please ask Yamagachi-san, Matsuyama-san, and Tagawa-san to join us on stage. From my side, I say a very loving arigato and sayonara. Thank you very much for this great honor. Enjoy the expo. God bless.
And while we're waiting for that, can we say a special thank you to Anita for a fantastic job of moderation. Well done, Anita.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mendoza. Thank you very much. Now we're going to have a photo session. それではこれから記念撮影をさせていただきます。まずは中央の皆様から移動。
So those people in the center, please.
Center. Okay, you are already on the center. And you must be joining the photo, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great moderating.
It's always tricky getting it.
Yes, we had no time, right? We're sorry that you...
We missed the whole Q&A.
I know. We're sorry about that.
It's fine, it's fine.
Okay.
You got to join them?
Yeah,
Very nice. Good. Thank you. Very nice.
それでは主催団体の山口会長、田川会長、そして松山理事長にも加わっていただきまして、フォーラム参加者全員での記念撮影とさせていただきます。プレスの皆様、どうぞ中央の、通路にて撮影をお願いいたします。前の方におかけいただいている皆様、恐れ入りますがカメラに映り込んでしまいますので、椅子におかけいただきお待ちください。Okay, ladies and gentlemen who are standing in front of the stage, please get down. Thank you very much for your cooperation. 皆様よろしいでしょうか。ありがとうございました。Thank you very much all. Please give them a big round of applause again. 皆様どうもありがとうございました。どうぞ大きな拍手でお送りください。